Through the Third Eye. Book 1 of the Third Eye Trilogy. Chapter 2. Regression of Iqbal. 𝐂𝐁𝐿 motioned for Shali to continue, and in response, she turned to the next tab in the script.
Iqbal, look ahead of you. You should see a very long hallway with doors on both sides. The hallway reaches as far as you can see. Each door leads to a different life you have lived before. One of those doors leads to a life that you lived almost 2000 years ago. Walk down the hallway until you reach that life. When you get to that door, I want you to stop and look at it.
Shali paused and then asked,
Are you in front of the door yet?
No.
𝐂𝐁 could tell where she was on the script, and that Iqbal was having trouble moving down the imaginary hallway. He turned the knob for the micro-pulse to the balls of his feet and pressed a button. Iqbal's ankles and feet twitched as the pulse generator sent him small micro-shocks.
Continue walking down the hall.
Shali paused for 5 seconds and then repeated,
Continue walking until you reach the door.
Yes. I am there, at the door.
Good. Open the door and walk into the room. Look around and tell me what you see.
There was a long pause. 𝐂𝐁 knew where Iqbal was and lifted his hand to signal Shali to wait. After another 5 seconds, he nodded his head for her to proceed again. As with any regression, Iqbal was at this moment experiencing a surrealistic dreamlike state. His subconscious mind would be wondering if this was real or just his imagination. He was probably wondering whether he could have created an illusion from some late-night movie he had seen long ago on television. Shali said,
Tell me what you see. Look around slowly and tell me what is there.
𝐂𝐁 sent a small pulse to Iqbal's shoulder muscles to stimulate his motion. Iqbal's shoulders shrugged upward and back toward his ears. He attempted to say something, but it was unintelligible, nearly inaudible. This was normal on a first regression for any subject. 𝐂𝐁 and Shali both knew the subconscious mind got better after warming up on a few past lives. Successive past lives almost always got better, and oftentimes the regressions became almost conversational. Slowly, Iqbal responded in a drawl-like mumble.
Books, scrolls, manuscripts everywhere. What a mess. Piles of writings.
His tone and speed picked up.
How can anybody find anything in this room?
Shali looked over and smiled at 𝐂𝐁 with a nod. She looked back and asked Iqbal.
What year is it?
Iqbal's head turned slightly to one side, as if looking around the room. He inhaled a slow, deep breath through his nose.
Ah.
He breathed in another breath.
Leather, the smell of leather.
Can you tell what year it is in this life with all of the books?
𝐂𝐁 pressed the button for a micro-pulse shot to the third eye. There was some hesitation as Iqbal searched for a date in this picture.
210. 220. No, 216. Yes, 216.
AD or BC?
Add.
Iqbal shot right back. 𝐂𝐁 understood Arabic numbers and shook his head with disappointment. He whispered almost under his breath.
Damn, missed it by 200 years.
Shali glanced up at 𝐂𝐁's comment, but quickly refocused her attention on the regression scripts. 𝐂𝐁 continued watching the intense yet barely perceptible expression on Iqbal's face. He nodded for Shali to prompt for more.
Please go on. What else do you see in the room?
Large writing table. This is where I do my best work. The Empress, she is pleased with my work, and the Emperor too.
Which Emperor and Empress? What city are you in?
Italy. Oh? Rome? No. Athens, I think. No. I can't tell. One of those cities. I'm not outside, so I can't tell.
That's okay. You can try later. Which Empress and Emperor?
Emperor Severus, of course, and his wife the Empress.
Iqbal's tiny smile glowed with happiness and satisfaction. Shali knew they were starting to roll now. At least they had a subject who knew some nobility. She prompted.
Which empress? What is her name?
Domna. Empress Julia Domna. She is pleased with my writings. Oh, she has such a full and complete library. She allows me to use the library any time I wish. The books, the scrolls, are from so many philosophers. Such very wise men. She is such a beautiful and intelligent person. She is a wonderful philosopher herself. I know. She does not hesitate to challenge my thinking, or anyone's thinking or words. But she welcomes debate even as the Empress of Rome. She is a great woman.
Iqbal paused for a few seconds, as if collecting his thoughts. Then he started again without any prompt, this time with a scowl on his face.
But many of the others do not like her. These other people, they have much power, and they do not like her. They believe she is too philosophical. She challenges their authority, their power. She is a threat to them.
Shali paused, then probed.
Who are these other people?
Iqbal scowled even more. He jerked his head quickly to the right. Shali and 𝐂𝐿 looked at each other in puzzlement. Shali nodded, and 𝐂𝐿 pressed the button, sending a micro-pulse to the third eye. No reply came back. Iqbal's expression turned from a serious scowl back to a satisfied smile. He continued, totally ignoring Shali's question.
The debates we have in the atrium and the courtyards are so challenging, invigorating, absolutely exhilarating. This time is so wonderful. Yes.
There was a long sigh and pause as he languished in past memories. Shali quickly summarized the session for 𝐂𝐿. He shook his head again in disappointment at first, but then he lifted his eyebrows and nodded. 𝐂𝐿 whispered so as not to disturb Iqbal.
But we're close. I've done extensive research on this era and possible threads of lives. Even though we missed the target date by a couple of 100 years, Iqbal could still be the soul we're looking for. But I'll bet I know who this is anyway.
He signaled for Shali to move to the script in the next section. She asked Iqbal.
What is your name in this life?
Iqbal strained to pick up a name from many lives earlier, and then finally drawled.
I can't tell exactly.
Just try. What does it sound like?
Iqbal struggled to pronounce a name he may not have spoken for nearly 2,000 years.
Something like.
𝐂𝐿 tipped his head back and looked at the ceiling, listening carefully.
Feeler. Stratum.
𝐂𝐿 almost lip-synced under his breath in cadence with Iqbal.
Philostratus.
With a huge gloating smile, he pumped his arm in victory and whispered.
Yes.
Shali glanced at 𝐂𝐿, eyebrows squeezed inward in query. She leaned over and whispered.
𝐂𝐿, give me a 10-second brief on this Philostratus.
He ran through a rapid-fire dissertation in hushed tones.
He was a famous Greek-Roman scholar and the author of many philosophical and historical books. He died in his mid-70s, about 250 AD. His most famous works were manuscripts on the life of Apollonius of Tyana. We're looking for Apollonius because I think he might know where the secrets are hidden. I heard Iqbal say Domna. That must be the Roman Empress Julia Domna Severus, one of the most powerful women during the entire history of the Roman Empire. If I recall, she chartered Philostratus to write about Apollonius and had a huge library that preserved many of Philostratus's works for centuries after her death. However, the books had to be hidden to survive a series of political and religious purges. Almost every religious crusade for 1,000 years tried to destroy books of any conflicting ideology, including her library.
It wasn't just religions that did that. Look at Hitler's Kristallnacht and the Chinese Cultural Revolution in 1965. Anyway, do you think Domna's library is what we are looking for?
I'm not sure. It would seem too obvious. Historians think that in the 600s AD, The hardcore Christian emperor Justinian destroyed a lot of what the empress had collected. She strongly supported open philosophical discussion and posed a big threat to the Christians at that time. The history books debate over her death. Some say she committed suicide about 217 AD after her son, the new emperor, was murdered in a purge of any philosophy-loving rulers and leaders. That is sort of dramatic. Others claim she simply died of breast cancer. I'd say that is more likely. That would be a strange turn for the Roman Empire, to lose one of their greatest leaders to breast cancer.
So do you think any of the writings survived?
Don't know, especially after the Catholic Pope Gregory tried to finish destroying them. According to these history books, 400 years after her death he destroyed what was left of the empress's library. He called the writings philosophical chaff. The Christian churches, particularly the Catholics, always seemed threatened by philosophies that challenged its authority, even if they didn't pose an immediate threat. A copy of Philostratus's book, called The Life of Apollonius, managed to survive the Christian destruction. That book is still preserved today in the U.S. Library of Congress.
If you think this might be Apollonius' soul, where do you want to go from here?
Philostratus lived about 150 years after Apollonius. When we're done poking around Philostratus's life, try again to find out who was attempting to destroy the writings, and then we'll try to move backward one more life. If we're lucky, we might get Apollonius.
She moved forward through the regression scripts for 15 minutes. Iqbal's soul, as Philostratus, reminisced about past lovers, philosophical rivals, obnoxious family members and confidants he had known during that life. His soul began to ramble endlessly about its experiences in this life, so 𝐂𝐁𝐿 and Shali left him to babble along while they stepped aside to talk about the next steps. Because the sessions were recorded, they knew they could pick up any missed details after transcription. 𝐂𝐁 leaned over to Shali and said,
Many historians believe that Philostratus escaped to Athens in his 40s when the Empress Julia Domna died.
Why? Was he in danger or threatened?
Perhaps. He may have felt he was a target because of his association with the Empress.
𝐂𝐁 began surfing his computer for more information on Philostratus. He searched the Pedias and several university websites for any descriptions of Philostratus's life.
Here, there was speculation he spent his last years in Tyre, a coastal city in Lebanon.
He told Shali in a low voice as he read.
There are purported events, but nothing definitive on his later years on how or where he died. Let's see if we can fill in the gaps in the history books.
They went back to Iqbal, and for the next 15 minutes, Shali continued to question him on events in this life that had been historically documented. They compared historical claims against what really happened, as described by Iqbal's soul. 𝐂𝐁 and Shali lightly joked at how documented history had distorted much of the subject's life.
Shali, let's get to the end and find out how he really died. There is a lot of debate on that. The regression should clear it up.
Shali prompted Iqbal.
Move forward to the last moments of this life.
She waited 5 seconds.
Are you there?
There was a long pause. 𝐂𝐁 pressed a shot of micro-pulse to the third eye, and the expression on Iqbal's face became serious. This reaction was normal for the first death or two experienced by any subject in a first regression session.
Yes. Yes. I am there.
Tell me what you see. Where are you located and who is with you?
I'm on the side of a hill. I am outside of Athens. I was walking early in the morning. I only went for a walk in the hills.
Iqbal shouted. Shali quickly injected.
You will not be hurt by what you see. You will not feel pain or suffer in any way. You can float away from this body and look down on it at any time. If this becomes painful or concerns you, move out of the body and watch from above. Now tell me what you see.
I was walking, a simple walk early in the morning. I fell off the path in the hills. I was just taking a walk to the top of the hill to enjoy the view of Athens. I fell off of the side of the path and rolled down the hill. That was so stupid. My back, it hurts badly. I broke my back and my neck. It's broken and I can't move. It doesn't hurt anymore, but now I can't talk, I can't move, I can't feel anything. I cannot even yell for help. There is no pain now, but I cannot move. I can hear people walking on the path to the top of the hill, and I cannot call to them.
How long are you there on the hill? Does anyone come or did anyone help you?
No. 2 days, 3 days. I lay there 3 days. 3 very long days. No one can see me or hear me. I cannot move. My body is paralyzed. No one hears me. The nights are cold, but it doesn't bother me because I cannot feel it. Only my face is cold at night. My mind is so full, so active. I have so much to say, so much to do, so much to write. I cannot tell anyone. No one can hear me. I do not want to be finished with this life yet.
Iqbal's facial expressions showed that he was not pleased with this experience. However, Protocol 75 would suppress this bad memory after the regression.
You said you were in Athens. Are you sure you are in Athens and not Tyre?
Iqbal smiled and laughed out loud in a muffled tone.
They think I am in Tyre. They did not know that I slipped away and came back to Athens. I had to hide from them for many years. I was safer hiding under their noses in Athens than living in Tyre.
The smile turned to a grin that poked out of the corner of Iqbal's mouth, despite the obvious stress he'd witnessed in his past life.
Who are they that have been looking for you?
Shali prompted tartly.
Who are you hiding from and why do you have to hide?
Iqbal did not answer. Again, he turned his head hard to the right, as if trying to hide. Shali asked again.
Who are you hiding from?
Clay pressed the button for another micropulse, the third eye. After no response, Shali asked,
Are these Christians who are looking for you? Are they Greeks? Romans? Who are they?
They came to great power in the last 50 years. They do not like my writings or my words. I know what they did to the Empress.
What did they do to the Empress? Did the Empress kill herself or did someone else kill her?
In a frustrated and commanding voice, Shali said.
Tell me who these people are, tell me now.
After a short pause, was his only response. Iqbal's head suddenly reeled back in his chair, as if escaping from the regression. He ignored the question and said,
I died. I left this body. It is over and no one is there with me. But that body was old and so anyway. I was ready to move on, ready to see my friends, I missed them. There is always the next life.
Shali looked at Clay and shrugged her shoulders. Iqbal's soul was obviously avoiding her questions. She leaned over to Clay and whispered.
Kind of a gruesome way to go on that hillside, huh?
Yes, but not as bad as cancer or diseases in the old days. Think of all the stories we have heard about different ways to die. Souls take sickness very differently than they take a sudden death like this. Some belabor the diseases.
You've been doing this a lot longer than me. Do you ever get tired of all the death you see while doing regressions?
Clay broke into a big joking smile.
Nah. It's just part of life. Everybody dies. It's just that you and I get to see death firsthand, at the end of every regression. As soon as you let me regress you through a couple dozen deaths, you'll see. I'm telling you, it's no big deal. After re-experiencing your 4th or 5th death, it's pretty easy to take. After that, if you get to see some wildly violent war death or criminal death from your past, it's almost exciting, a bit like a movie. Remind me to tell you about the time I was nearly sliced in two in North Africa.
Clay chuckled under his breath.
Damn barbers.
Shali glared at him and snapped back in counter jest.
Clay, you're sick. You need a shrink, and maybe even a regression session to work out your underlying issues.
Smiling, Clay pointed to their subject in the lounger and nodded for Shali to continue. She turned and focused her attention on Iqbal. It was time to dig for soulmates.
You spoke about seeing friends. What friends? Who are they?
I don't know who they are or what they are. I just know that I will see them again soon after this death.
Shali leaned over to Clay.
This soul seems to be longing for his podmates.
That's good. We can look forward to the LBL phase. That's where we'll get the good stuff. If this soul is unencumbered by a weak and prejudiced human subconscious, it could be a gold mine. But we'll never get there without building some rapport first. Let's get on to the last of the script.
Shali turned to Iqbal.
What did you learn from this life?
Iqbal slowly and deliberately responded.
That the teaching of others was my purpose for this life, to communicate ideas, but not to push so hard as to alienate others. I learned that as a teacher of new ideas, you must walk the fence of the lion's pit. You must keep your balance or the lions will feast. The one called Apollonius showed me the way. Apollonius could taunt the lions to frenzy, but would not fall into the pit.
Iqbal's face flashed a guilty grin.
I have fallen into the lion's pit so many times before this life, but I gain more balance each life.
When Shali translated for Clay, he became hungry for more details. Clay slid forward in his chair and almost fell into the table of electronic gadgets. Shali picked up on his curiosity and gave him a look of.
What do I do next?
Clay signaled she should keep digging. She continued with Iqbal.
Tell me more about the lessons you learned.
No response. 5 seconds later, Clay pressed the button to send a shot of micropulse to the third eye.
Did you learn everything you were supposed to learn?
No response. Clay leaned over to Shali.
We're not getting any further on this, so let's go to the scripts on the secrets.
Shali flipped to a section in the back of the script book and turned back to Iqbal.
Did you ever hear of hidden writings, secrets of life, or secrets of the world?
Clay gave another long, hard micropulse shot to the third eye. After a few seconds, Iqbal responded.
Yes, there are secrets, but few people know about them. They are written, but they are hidden. The secrets are hidden in the words. The words are hidden in the hills. I do not know where. I do not know how. I just know. I just know.
Clay whispered.
I don't think this soul knows where the secrets are hidden, but keep pushing. There's a link here somewhere, so we have to get to his soulmates. We'll do that in the LBL.
Shali nodded and continued questioning Iqbal.
Do you know of anything that might be called a secret doctrine?
He gave no answer.
Have you heard of the 7 keys or the 7 secrets?
There was no response.
Do you know of the Chinese writing called 𝐂𝐁𝐿?
No response.
Do you know the source of Kabbalah?
No response. This closing script continued for 5 more minutes as Shali grasped at straws at the end of this live session. Iqbal simply did not respond to her fishing expedition. Clay handwrote a quick note for Shali with several spontaneous unscripted questions.
When you were an older man in this life, did you know or meet a young man named Plotinus? Perhaps you met him in Rome.
I have heard of him.
What do you know about him? What have you heard?
I did not meet him. I was told that he was well-traveled, educated and knowledgeable. His was a Greek Roman, but he came from Egypt. He was educated in Alexandria, but he later traveled and battled in Persia. His ideas and thoughts were interesting, so I was told. I was hiding in Athens when he came back to Rome from Egypt, so I never met him. He was not popular among the powerful leaders either.
Shali translated for Clay, who wrote out more questions for her. Shali asked Iqbal.
Have you heard of a man named Ammonius Saccas? In Alexandria. Did you ever know him or hear of him?
There was a long pause, but Shali finally got a reply.
Yes, Ammonius was an Egyptian. He lived in Alexandria. He was a well-known scholar and a very popular philosopher, but he did not write much. I did not know him. I only heard of him.
The back-and-forth questioning continued for another 5 minutes, but Iqbal gave no more responses. Clay knew Iqbal was finished talking about this life for now. It was time to take a short break and let Iqbal's mind roam in memorable reverie while they regrouped to prepare for another life of this soul. While Iqbal rested, Shali pulled Clay into the next room.
Clay, what are you after with this Plotinus guy? You keep asking about him.
I'm not really sure. I picked up his name several times in the regressions that got us to this point. Both Plotinus and Ammonius Saccas have a connection here, somewhere. A lot of these philosophers and scholars seem to be interlaced at the soul level.
Shali gave her partner an intense look.
If Iqbal has Apollonius' soul, I need to know more so I know what to dig for. You've got to fill me in on this guy and explain how you think he is connected to the secret writings.
I really have no idea how. In fact, I don't even know that the secrets are writings. That was a speculation, because they talk about knowledge. I figured knowledge has to be writings of some sort. I assume the soul of Apollonius knows what the secrets are, or perhaps where they are hidden. Even if his soul doesn't have first-hand information, maybe he can link us to one of his soulmates who may have the key. I'm counting on the fact that souls hang around in pods in between lives and experience many lives together as soulmates. We're getting close, Shali. If Iqbal's soul is not Apollonius, then I'll bet our good old Apollonius is in the same pod. Here in this chair lies the soul of Philostratus, the foremost authority on Apollonius. There has to be a connection. I know it. You're closing in.
The eternal optimist, you are. So we are close to Apollonius. That still doesn't help me ask the right questions. When we get to the LBL phase and the guide opens the Akashic records, you know they are only going to give us what they want us to know. I have to coax it out of them almost every damn time. I know you've been holding back, but you've got to give me more details on the secrets. Where did you ever find out about them and who or what is leading you there? Oh, and by the way, who the hell do you think this guy is so afraid of?
Clay paused for a moment to gather his thoughts.
First, I don't really know who he is afraid of, but we consistently see this when we get mention of the secrets. Somebody doesn't want the secrets to get out.
Clay hesitated and sat back in his chair.
As to the details, I apologize for being so tight with the secrets since we've been together. I know I have to give you more to work with.
Clay paused again.
All right. You know, I got all my wealth by doing regressions for several years before we met. But you don't really know how I made that money.
Yeah. No joke, Sherlock. You've been playing a mystery game with me for almost 2 years. You've held back, I know. I didn't want to push you, but I need to know more. I'm working half-blind here. We finally got a good lead. So, come on. Fess up.
Well, when I first started, instead of playing the psychologist game and doing regressions to solve individuals' personal problems, I did them to seek out lost or misplaced items from their past lives. You know, like finding buried treasure. I had a couple of big hits early on. I found war booty, stolen gold bars from cargo shipments, stashed diamonds. That's why I used Protocol 75. I didn't want to compete with my subjects in running for the hidden treasures. Perhaps it was a bit selfish, but now that I've got plenty of money, I can pursue treasures for the good of others. Sorry I haven't opened up before, but after what happened between us when we first got together, I just didn't know if I could completely trust you.
I'll give you that. I guess I could have ended up as your competition. But hidden treasures from past lives? What are the odds of finding that? I figure you'd have a better chance of winning the lottery.
Oh no, my dear lady, you'd be surprised. It seems like almost every soul has hidden something in a past life. They might forget about it while living, or maybe they would die before recovering it. It must be impressionable on a soul to have hidden something in some earlier life without ever benefiting from it. During my early regressions, I just ask my subjects to go directly to a life where something like this happened to them.
But there just aren't that many rich people in the world. How do you get to the big money?
You're right. I'd get lots of little things, like a wooden toy that a child hid from his sibling in 300 BC. There was a small bag of coins a woman hid from her constantly drunk husband in 1300 AD Russia. He killed her a few years later, and that soul never got to retrieve the coins. Things like this are just not worth pursuing, though. I waited for big ones.
So, like what? What were your big hits?
I had one regression on a subject in Australia. This woman's soul was once a member of a small band of Mexican bandits who robbed a bank in Flagstaff, in the Arizona Territory in the late 1800s. The band fled south toward Phoenix with 11 saddlebags of gold coins. That's worth tens of millions of dollars today. That same night, they were ambushed by the Flagstaff sheriff with an aggressive posse who killed most of the bandits in the gunfight. A few of the Mexicans escaped on horseback with 10 bags of the gold, which they buried in the Arizona desert so they could dig it up later. They took off for Phoenix to let things cool down, but they were captured by U.S. Marshals and hung a few weeks later. No one ever found the gold bags until I came along.
Clay sat back and smiled before continuing.
This woman's soul was absolutely eager to tell someone where it was hidden. I only found 9 bags, but that was enough to get me jump-started, instant wealth. I sold the coins on eBay, a couple at a time.
He smirked.
I am speaking to you in confidence because I trust you now, okay? I have several more good finds, but I'll have to tell you those another time.
Shali kept pushing.
But how did you find out about these secrets that we're looking for, the supposed secrets of the universe, as you say?
I don't know if they are secrets of the universe, but they are supposed to be something really big. Anyway, I got a bit greedy and started asking my regression subjects if they knew of any huge hidden secrets, bigger than anything imaginable. I was really looking for a big stash, like a lost shipment of jewels, or maybe a proverbial king's ransom, hidden deep in Nottingham Forest. However, all I got were consistent references to hidden secrets, not monetary treasures. Some of them would talk of hidden treasures, but when I dug in deeper, they really meant secret knowledge of some kind. Most of the regressions came from lives that were lived between 1,000 and 2,000 years ago, and mostly in the Middle East, Western Asia, and Europe. Only a few lives less than 1,000 years old made reference to these hidden secrets. It was as if the secrets disappeared, or were forgotten about.
All right, now I sense that you don't know a whole lot more about the secrets than I do. So, what about Apollonius?
This is where Apollonius comes in. Several times I got references from regressed souls who pointed at Apollonius' soul as some kind of originator, collector, or protector of the secrets. I don't have many more details because I couldn't get these souls to give me more than that. They kept talking about the secrets as if they were some kind of hidden writings or knowledge. Some called it a divine wisdom or referred to 7 secrets. The souls who referred to the secrets often talked about ancient Kabbalah or Zoroastrianism or Buddhism, but I could never get it pinned down. Some regressions to more recent lives made vague references to the Masons and the Theosophists in particular. Souls with older lives talked about linkages with the Abrahamic religious sects, Indian Mahatmas and yogis, and Buddhist high priests of some sort. I'd even gotten linkages to Chaldean oracles from Babylonia in today's Iraq. Some spoke of Eastern initiates or ancients who were clear the secrets should not be released to mankind. It's all a bit of a mishmash, but the common thread is that there are some big secrets hidden out there somewhere.
Well, at least you gave me more to go on. Now I know how you got the last sets of regression scripts.
But I am certain there are a couple of copies of these secrets stashed out there. I got one lead that alluded to the Vatican having a copy of the secrets. But if that exists, it's unlikely anyone will ever see it. I don't think the Vatican would even acknowledge, let alone release, any secrets of the universe they might have.
Okay. Let's get back to the regression. If Iqbal's soul lived as Apollonius, hopefully we will find it alive or two earlier in time.
End of chapter 2.